Hey everybody, this is video 1. We're going to be talking about decimals, percents, fractions, and proportions. Alright, so our first section of this, we're going to change these fractions to decimals. Okay, to do this you're going to have to use a calculator. And in your calculator, since we have 5/8, we're just going to take 5 divided by 8 in our calculator, which gives me 0.625. And we always want to round to the nearest hundredth, so this would give me 0.63. Okay, number 2, if I take 3 divided by 25 in my calculator, I get 0.12, and that is already to the hundredths place, so I am done with that one, so 0.12. Okay, here I'm going to change my decimals to fractions. Okay, so what I want to do here is the 5. Okay, so I'm looking at this last number is in the hundredths place, so I'm going to put 100 on the bottom and put my 35 over the top. And then I always want to reduce my fraction. So I know they both divide by 5 because they end in zeros and 5, so I'm going to say 7. 35 divided by 5 is 7. 100 divided by 5 is 20. And 7 over 20 can't reduce anymore, so there's my answer. Okay, again, the 0 here, I'm going to look at, and it's in the hundredth spot, so I'm going to put it over 100 and 10 over 100. I know that 10 and 100 both divide by 10, so that gives me 1 over 10 is my answer. Okay, now this 5 here is in the thousandth spot, so I'm going to put this over 1,000 this time, and 175. Okay, so again, I know 175 and 1,000 both divide by 5. So I'm going to get 35. And if I divide 1,000 by 5, I get 200. And then I'm going to divide them by 5 again because they're both divisible by 5 again. They end in 5s and zeros. So that gives me 7 over 40. And then that is my answer for that one. Okay, here we're going to go percent to decimal. Okay, your key with this one is to move your decimal back 2 places. Okay, so decimal is going to go back 2 places. That's your key for this one. Okay, so if my decimal is after the 5 here, I'm going to go back 2 places, so that gives me 0.75. Okay, here my decimal is after the 3, I'm going to go back 2 places, so I have to put a 0 before the 3 as a placeholder, so 0.035. Here my decimal is after the 3 again, so I'm going to go back 2 places, so I get 1.23. Okay, and our last section of this video, we're going to be solving proportions. So when we solve proportions, we cross multiply. So we're going to multiply the 3 and the 10, that gives me 30, equals the 4 times the x, that gives me 4x. Divide by 4 on both sides. So 30 divided by 4 is going to give you a decimal, so you get 7.5. Okay, here we have 2 more, so cross multiply. 30 times x gives you 30x. 48 times 10 gives you 480. Divide by 30 on both sides, because you're solving a one-step equation. And so you get x equals 16. Okay, number 11, cross multiply again. R times 9 gives you 9r. 6 times 10.5 is 63. 9 times r, to get rid of the 9, we're going to divide. 63 divided by 9 gives you 7. All right, and that is your video on decimals, fractions, percents, and proportions. We will see you next time.